Hey everybody, Dale and Shirley Guiducci coming to you from LifeStyleOver50.com with yet another review of a Florida state park. And wow, we just had a great time at Hillsborough State Park. And I would put it at the top of our list of places that we've been to so far, wouldn't you?
It's my number one. Absolutely loved it for so many reasons.
Yeah, and you know what's great about it is it's only an hour from us. We've already booked time to go back, haven't we?
Correct.
Yeah. So what would you say? I mean, you said for many reasons. Like let's start naming the reasons. Like what? Let's talk about the campsites and things like that first.
So we had a great site, site number 8. Now it was where behind you there were neighbors, but the way the sites are situated, it was like they weren't even there. And then to the side, you had a ton of foliage. So the separation was awesome. It was a pretty wide site. So I loved the site for sure. And this park was also pretty deep in from the roadway. Yeah. So it was another really quiet environment.
Well, what I really loved, though it's true, what I loved about it too was, at least ours, and I think in most sites, the canopy of trees above you was absolutely amazing. So we've been in camping in campsites where there was no shade, and it gets warm, as you might imagine, and if you're a camper, you know. So this had a beautiful canopy, and if you go to the blog post that we have, the review that we have on Hillsborough State Park, which you'll see the link below this video. By the way, subscribe if you want to get more reviews and more information about camping and other things for people with lifestyle over 50 for sure, and like the video. But we're going to have a link to the blog post so you can go and see everything about the park, but also this picture I'm talking to you, because I stood underneath and I took the picture straight up, and it's this really cool photo of the canopy of trees above. So I love that. But you know, you can't talk about the camp sites, which I think we rode around, as we always do on our bikes. We rode around loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. We saw every campsite in the park. I don't think there was a terrible campsite there.
There really wasn't. The majority of the sites, had these canopy of trees to provide plenty of shade, the size of pretty much all of them. Loop 1, I think the sites were a little shorter.
Because the loop is smaller, so the sites are going to be a little bit smaller. The other thing in Loop 1 is there was a couple of campsites, I made note of it in the blog post, that they were right up against the swampy area. And it was very picturesque. It was beautiful, right? It was really cool. We were taking pictures, but I think it might get buggy there. Where the rest of the park, we didn't have a problem with bugs at all.
It was my favorite. They obviously spray, because we had no issues. I think, for using the bug spray was random here and there. Typically when we camp, we're early risers, so we're out in the morning when it's still dark having our coffee, and that's usually a huge time for mosquitoes. Like, there was no issue. And at night we were able to keep our screen tent unzipped and not worry about bugs. So that was my favorite for taking care of the property for sure.
Well, here's my favorite part.
Well, I'll change that. It wasn't my favorite part, but I was very happy about the bugs, or no bugs.
That's a good thing to have a favorite. But here's my favorite part of the trip, believe it or not. And then we're going to talk about some biking and stuff like that in a second. But while we're talking about the campsites, I loved the friendly people. Like, listen, typically camping, as you know, if you're a camper, people are friendly, right? But these people were really friendly. Like, we had people come into our campsite to introduce themselves. We met people. We went, just walking around, biking around, talking to people. You wanted to see the inside of a couple of campers, and they took us right in and said, sure, come on in and look at our camper. We met this couple that we're hooked up with on Facebook now. We're planning a future camping trip with. We had a neighbor that went all out for Halloween. You'll see pictures of it in the blog post, this 20-foot skeleton. I mean, absolutely amazing, amazing people. And what's cool about Hillsborough River and these people is they keep coming back time and time again. They're veterans of Hillsborough River. They support it. They love it. And because of that, I think there's more of a friendly atmosphere there. And I think they kind of brought us into that friendly atmosphere. And
welcomed us.
Yeah, they welcomed us right in. So that to me was really, really cool about our trip to Hillsborough River. But of course, there's things to do there. So why don't you talk a little bit about what we did at Hillsborough River?
Yeah, first I'll say I agree with you. It was the Great Neighbor Award, big time.
Yeah.
Because not only were they just welcome us, and we had a lot of laughs and stuff like that with, you could tell the people who come back all the time. Like people would walk by, ride by or whatever, and they knew each other.
Right.
And it was just a great environment. So things to do. Incredible hiking. We definitely biked, and there's a good amount to bike as far as paved roads. And then we found a few service roads where it was hard sand, so you can actually ride your bike down. We were hoping to see maybe some deer, going down that. But we took one particular hike, and so Hillsborough River has many different trails to walk, and most are just very easy. You get the river view and so forth. But I want to talk about the Seminole Trail. Because Dale and I, we walk pretty much every single day, and we do a minimum of 3 miles. So 3 miles is nothing for us. So we wanted to do the moderate trail for our hike one day. And so we headed out, and that particular hike is 3.2 miles. Now there's more in the park, so our total trip ended up being just shy of 5 miles.
Yeah, 4.65 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this hike, oh my goodness, it took us forever. It felt like a 10-mile hike, but it was incredible because we walked through, trails that have been around for a long time. Brush was growing over, and that's okay. That's the experience, of doing a moderate hike over trees, under trees, all, mud and so forth, watching out for gator because you're along the river for a huge portion. Definitely watching out for snakes because of the brush. But I'll tell you, it was an incredible environment, the nature, the hike. We were exhausted after, but totally, totally worth it.
Yeah, and it definitely wore us out. But in the blog post, I've got a map of the park. You'll see the different trails. There's 3 trails off of that area, off of the Hillsborough River, that you can get to through the suspension bridge from the main part of the park. And then that service road we took is actually the beginning of the Wetlands Trail. Right. Which is at a different area of the park that we rode our bikes along, and that'll take you to the King's Trail, which is a 6.7 mile, not moderate. It's a difficult hike, and so we only went down that road a couple of miles, and we turned around and came back because it got a little aggressive for us to be on the bikes. And we had done plenty of hiking the day before, so there's plenty of hiking to do. Plenty of biking to do. You go around the main road. There's different things to stop and see. We really enjoyed that. But then there's also the Hillsborough River. Right. So there's Class 2 rapids at the eastern point, northeastern point of the river as it comes through the park. So you could go down the rapids if you so choose. If you don't, you can always launch your canoe or kayak or boat below the rapids, and it turns into a nice little lazy river. So you have that aspect as well. We didn't see a lot of people canoeing or kayaking. Right. We did see a couple in a canoe that were fishing. We saw a couple of people kayaking, but expected to see more. But they have shut down a lot of things, as you might imagine, because of COVID. The main store is shut down. The bike rentals, the canoe rentals, the kayak rentals, they're all shut down now. So I think that kind of discouraged people or kept the amount of people in the river down. But and there's gators. It's black water, and there's gators, as most of Florida is with rivers is black water, and there's gators and so forth. So keep that in mind. But at this point, you have to bring your own kayak or canoe or boat to get on the river. So
right. And this time, doing the shorter trails, I saw the big daddy. Excuse me. I saw the big daddy of gators. Yeah. He was huge. He was on the other side of the river. And then inside the camping area, there's a special kayak launch. Yes. Remember that? So it was kind of cool.
In Loop
stairways.
2. In Loop 2, yeah.
Right, in Loop 2. And it had this, because it goes downstairs, it had this wooden chute.
It was a chute.
To be able to put your kayak in to not have to carry and slide it right down into the water. Cool. It was very cool.
And then one other thing with regard to nature is all the black vultures.
Wow.
There was tons, and you'll see a little video that Shirley took of the black vultures up in the tree. We were just riding by on our bikes, and vultures were everywhere. There was one on our bike trail. They're massive, massive birds. But there's a ton, and they call a group of You know what they call a group of black vultures?
I don't.
A committee.
A committee.
So there was a committee. There was a big committee of black vultures there in the park. So anyway, I think we would rate, of the state parks and actually county parks that we've been to so far, we would put Hillsborough, and we're so surprised.
Right.
I think that we would, that going there, our expectations were kind of low, and it well exceeded our expectations. So Hillsborough River is our #1 favorite place to go at this point. So if you are inclined, and there were people that were from across the state that came to Hillsborough. There's people that live in the area that, again, they've come back time and time and time again. So if you want to camp, certainly in the Tampa Bay area, just 22 miles northeast of downtown Tampa, wow, Hillsborough River State Park is the place you want to go.
Yep, it's definitely my #1, and I want to go back more than once.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much. Remember, subscribe to our channel, like this video, go visit the blog. We got a ton of stuff if you love camping, ton of stuff on camping, but we're also into writing about just general health over 50. We've got a whole workout program for people. We've got diets, fitness ideas for sure, and just talking about retirement and preparing for retirement with regard to lifestyle. That's what we're all about at Lifestyle Over 50. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll see y'all real soon.
See y'all soon.